Let's start the podcast. Cliff Jacks here, your host. Welcome to OfftheCliff-Sports. The All-Star game is come and gone. Giannis Antetokounmpo played just as hard in the All-Star game as he does in real games. I think some of the veterans was trying to tell him, son, slow down. We're not out here trying to play like this. Got a great show for you. I hope you're ready to listen. We're going to talk about a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about the NBA and crunch time. Most teams only got about 25 games left. We're going to talk a little bit about the AAF Football League. Is there trouble in paradise already? Also, we're really going to get into heavily Kaepernick versus the NFL. We're going to talk a lot about that later in the show. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you for tuning in. Remember, OfftheCliff-Sports@gmail.com. You can send me an email with your questions, comments. Tell me you like the show or you don't. You can reach out to me at Twitter. You can reach me on Instagram. You can hear all the episodes, the past episodes, OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com. So go check them out. You can always comment on old episodes. My favorite episode 3, Controversy Sales. That was a great show. I appreciate that show. We're going to get into this stuff and we're going to sort some things out today. Don't go anywhere. Cliff Jacks back at you. I always forget that we're on Tumblr also. Off the Cliff Sports is on Tumblr. So if any of you out there use that app, that program, you can hear us there also. First thing I want to get into today with you guys, $300 million. The San Diego Padres have signed a contract with Manny Machado, a shortstop, for 10 years, $300 million. First question I have, is there any one person in sports worth $300 million? Now, don't get me wrong. In the NBA, there's only 5 people on the court at one time. So one man in the NBA or woman, WNBA, can make a major impact. Football and baseball, not so much. In football and baseball, you have 11 men on the field at a time in football. Baseball, you got 9 men on the field. And if it's coming to pitchers, they don't pitch every day. $300 million? That's an astronomical number if you ask me. But what's really bad about this situation, Bryce Harper, who personally I think is a better player out of the two, he hasn't signed a contract yet. And he's expected to get $300 million plus also. Baseball is a sport where the money comes. If you can hold out long enough if you're young, you have to go through the rough periods, the minor leagues, probably 2 to 4 years there. But if you can ever get up to the majors and you make an impact, at the end of the day, your payday is going to be very lucrative compared to the NFL especially. The NBA guys, right now, they're making 100 to 200 million themselves, so can't say nothing's wrong with that. And both MLB and NBA is guaranteed money. So all I can say is bravo for those guys making that money. But as an owner, I would have to say we need to think about what we paying people to play a sport. Just my opinion. You got teachers out there that are getting underpaid, firemen, police officers, nurses, but professional athletes making $300 million of guaranteed money. It's kind of ridiculous and getting out of hand. Good old AB84 is his Twitter handle. Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown requested to be traded a week or so ago, and he's actually took it to another step on social media. He's posting things and saying things to run possible teams off. He's trying to stack the deck on where he can go. Mr. Brown is not a free agent. He's still under contract, and he doesn't have a no trade clause. So at the end of the day, the Steelers can trade him to whomever they see fit and whomever wants to give them what they're looking for. Now, Antonio Brown and the Steelers owner had a conversation the other day, and they both agreed, I guess, to say, okay, it's time to let you go. We appreciate what you've done and let you go. And at the end of the day, it seems like the owner took the side of his quarterback over the side of one of the best two receivers in the game over the last 6 to 8 years. It's kind of odd, but of course there are situations and possible things that could relate to why he would choose that quarterback over that wide receiver. Of course, all wide receivers get the bad stigma of being prima donnas, whiny, always want things. Most wide receivers make things happen, and that's just the nature of it. One other reason is most wide receivers, unfortunately, are African American who likes to have fun, and when you do something good, we want to celebrate. It's not that we're trying to disrespect our opponents. It's the fact that they did something good. They know the fans want them to dance and want them to have fun. Because when they dance and have fun, the fans get energized. That's the way things work in our community. But whoever gets Antonio Brown, some people have been saying San Francisco. I personally would like to see him go to the Rams just to see how explosive that offense could be. I also see some secret teams out there like the Washington Redskins and another secret team, the Carolina Panthers. Look out for them as well. We'll see how that thing goes. Speaking of the Carolina Panthers, Kaepernick situation coming to an end. The Carolina Panthers are a team a lot of people are looking at to say, hey, he probably can fit your offensive scheme. Cam Newton has been hurt. He had surgery, and people really are wondering, is he going to end up missing a whole season, kind of like Andrew Luck did a year or so back? And if he does, why not bring in Colin Kaepernick? He has the skill set that can run that offense just as good as Cam. The question is, can he run it better than Cam? Possible. Colin Kaepernick has went to a Super Bowl also and to AFC Championship game. So we're going to see what Carolina decides to do. Are they going to be the team to bring Colin Kaepernick in and see if he still got it, or see if his couple years off have hurt him where he's lost his skill? I honestly think he still got it. He's in the weight room. He's still active. I think if he wants to play, I think he can go in there and do it. And I think Carolina would be a nice spot for him. I also think the Tennessee Titans would be a nice spot for him. To me, they need a quarterback. But we'll see what happens once free agency starts. We're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about my favorite segment, Top of the Cliff, and we're going to invite somebody to come to the top of the cliff with us. Off the Cliff Sports. Stay tuned. It's time for us to bring somebody to the top of the cliff with Cliff Jacks. Antonio Brown requested a trade. There's been a lot of talk about how he went about doing it. So Antonio Brown pretty much let us know, hey, you think it's all me? How about we take a look at our quarterback who degrades players, talks to players like he's their boss, he's their master. But he's just a quarterback. This week, the Steelers GM, Kevin Colbert, who I'm inviting to the top of the cliff, came out and said it's okay with how Big Ben talks to the other players. They should want to listen to Big Ben. If he decides to call them out to the media and so forth, it's okay. From what I'm hearing, the Steelers GM is telling Big Ben, you can treat them like they beneath you. You can treat these players like they don't have the ability to stand in your shoes. That's kind of that owner's mentality that Antonio Brown was talking about. Big Ben feels like he's above everyone else. True enough, Ben Roethlisberger has 2 Super Bowl rings. One of them was solely on the back of the bus back in the day, and the other one he helped win. But let's be real about this thing. Big Ben also was accused of rape. He's not a sailor. He's not the honest citizen you would think. He's an everyday Joe or an everyday Cliff like the rest of us. He has a lot of faults. And for his GM to stand up and say, this is the leader of our team and the man that the rest of you players should look up to, that's some idiotic thinking if you ask me. Kevin Colbert, please join me at the top of the cliff. Now what you do once you get up here, that's up to you, not up to me. Guys, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the king, LeBron James. You're listening to Off the Cliff Sports. Don't go anywhere. The NBA All-Star Games this past Sunday, and Team LeBron came away with the win. Team Giannis was leading for the majority of the game until late third quarter when Team LeBron finally started playing a little defense, started hitting some shots. Dame Lillard, Klay Thompson, Bradley Beal started hitting threes all over the place and got their team back in the game. And pretty much fourth quarter, Team LeBron took over and got the W. Kevin Durant was the MVP, his second MVP in an All-Star game. He had 31 points. LeBron James had 19 points in the game. It was pretty exciting. It was a lot of dunks. It was a lot of three-point shooting. They shot a combined 167 three-point attempts, which was crazy. But it was actually a relatively entertaining All-Star game compared to a lot of them. In the fourth quarter, actually, both sides started really playing ball. I mean, money was on the line, and you could tell people started digging in. So the actual All-Star events on Saturday night were not bad either. The slam dunk contest was okay. I would say it was a little above average. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. The three-point shootout was pretty entertaining. Surprise, Steph Curry did not win on his home turf. And the skills challenge was pretty exciting. It was Trae Young's to win, but Mr. Tatum from Boston heaved up a long shot that went in to actually upset Trae Young. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool event. We even had an awesome halftime show at the All-Star game. J. Cole came out and performed, and it was top-notch. NFL might want to take notes. While we're on the NBA, it's time to get into crunch time. Most teams have about 25 games left in the season, including the one LeBron James and the Lakers. The Lakers right now sit in the 10th seed in the West. 10th. They're about 2.5 games out. So the Lakers are going to need to pretty much, I would say, win at least 15 out the last 25 games they have to make the playoffs. It's going to be tough because their schedule is pretty tough down the road. A lot of Western Conference teams, a lot of teams over 500. Can LeBron and the aurora of LeBron James get the Lakers to the playoffs this year? I think it's going to be close. I know the Clippers right now have a playoff spot and they're going to fall out because they're trying to lose. But I think the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Sacramento Kings, I think both of those teams are trying to get to that playoff spot. So it's going to be interesting to see if LeBron and the baby Lakers can get to the big dance. Now, the next question, do you really want to be in the 8th seed and have to play Golden State in the first round if you're the Lakers? I know LeBron is LeBron, but the other 4 people on the floor are not Golden State. And they don't have the toughness, I don't think, to stand up, look in the face of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, DeMarcus Cousins, Iguodala off the bench and say, hey, we're going to take you guys to the limit. I just don't see the Lakers being able to do that. I think if the Lakers do make it to the playoffs, I'll give them one game. I'll give them one game, although it's going to be tough because I really think Golden State could sweep the first 2 rounds at least, but we'll see how that plans out. LeBron, this will be one of his biggest feats, I think, if he can get this team to the playoffs and win 1 or 2 games. I think this would be nice for his resume. Still not going to put LeBron James over Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time. People should leave it there. He is the greatest player of all time. But the King, this is his time frame. This is his era. And right now, the King is the king of this era. And he has been for the most part of his career. First couple years of LeBron's career, you probably could give the throne to Kobe. But outside of that, LeBron has dominated his time as an NBA basketball player. Switching sports over to football, and no, we're not talking about the NFL. We're talking about the Alliance of American Football League. First week, this league started off with a bang. It was exciting. I personally say this league has something to offer. They're hitting hard. They're playing hard. They're playing tough. Although scoring in most of the games was a premium scoring, you were seeing a lot of field goal attempts. And what I did find out, the teams only had a month of practice before the league started. So, I mean, that takes away a lot of time where normal in NFL rosters, you go through training camp, 3 to 5 preseason games, depending on if you play in the Hall of Fame game or not. So only a month of practice, I can see why it was a little sloppiness. But I think that league had something going. As we get to week 2, the games, I watched a little bit personally. I wasn't as tuned in as I was week 1. So, I mean, that alone kind of lets you know that me personally, it didn't take over like I was watching an NFL game. But I do think for those cities, those markets that don't have an NFL team, this could work until you hear the news about payroll issues. Yes, I said payroll issues for a new league. Players not getting paid. Players haven't getting paid. And this was earlier this week, so it's like, wait a minute, they've played 2 weeks of ball and nobody's gotten checks. Now, the president of the league said it was some issues with the payroll system on why the players didn't get paid. But there's also been talk that the Carolina Panthers owner dropped $250 million into the league to help keep it going. So this is not good for a league that's just 2 weeks old, especially with the XFL starting up next year. Now, I'm on the record to saying both leagues can't make it. It's only going to be one or the other. Which one is it going to be? XFL, AAF. And this payroll fiasco could definitely put some points in the XFL's favor, and it hasn't even begun yet. It's going to be interesting to see how they overcome for this. Is the football playing next week going to keep people in tune? One thing that's really a problem is this changing channels, trying to find what channel the game on. This is actually something that personally I don't like, because I go to one channel, first week it's on CBS, next week it's on NFL Network, so trying to find where the games. With the NFL, we know our games are going to be on CBS, they're going to be on Fox. Sunday night football is going to be on NBC. Monday night football is going to be on ESPN. We know those off the top of our heads. We don't have to think about it. So I see a lot of things. One thing I definitely don't like, the games on the NFL Network, I've noticed the camera angles have sucked. And that's one thing that will take me away. They give me a lot of angles from behind the quarterback, which I really don't like that. I like the angles that we normally get from the NFL games. I think most players and people will like those angles better too. So there's a lot of work that AAF is going to need to do to sharpen up the product. They have a lot of good things they got going for them that they need to keep going, like listening to the replay official decide on whether to overturn or keep the plays standing, listen to the quarterback calling the play in the huddle, listen to the coaches calling out the play to the quarterback. Putting us in the middle of things like that are keepers. Those are great things that will help this league move forward. Now, they have two teams in the league. One, the team in Atlanta and the team in Memphis. It might be time to either cut them or move those two teams somewhere else, because those two teams are terrible right now. Bottom feeders. And we know the bottom feeders are always the ones that go first. AAF, you're on the clock. Let's get this thing working like it needs to be. We watching. The XFL is definitely watching with close eyes. What not to do, what to do. We'll see how things playing out. Next here on Off the Cliff Sports, we're going to have a little debate. Colin Kaepernick and Eric Reed have ended their lawsuit against the NFL. They've come to a mutual agreement. Apparently, the money is disclosed, or not disclosed, but we've been hearing things around $50 million, $60 million have been paid out to end this lawsuit and to keep quiet. We're going to have a debate here with a couple gentlemen to try to figure out what is their point of view. A couple everyday Joes. I'm everyday Cliff. But we're going to talk to them and try to see what do they feel about the ending of this lawsuit between Kaepernick and the NFL. Did Kaepernick take hush money? Question mark. Did the NFL feel pressure and needed to end this to save face? Question mark. We're going to see what these other gentlemen think. We'll be back on Off the Cliff Sports, and we're going to get serious here. Kaepernick versus the NFL. Don't go anywhere. You're going to miss some good stuff. Stay with us. All right, I have Muhammad on the line with me. Muhammad was LT's backup at TCU. Just want everybody to remember that. He was the backup. Thank you for joining this week, Muhammad. We appreciate your time. We want to get into this Colin Kaepernick versus the NFL. And we want to know, did Colin Kaepernick sell out, or did the NFL subdue to the pressure and all the bad publicity? What you think?
Man, Colin Kaepernick 100% did not sell out, or that is to be told. There's too much dialogue out there right now talking about Colin Kaepernick sold out, which makes no sense. Colin Kaepernick was the one that got screwed by the NFL in the first place.
That's correct.
He never had beef with the NFL. He didn't take a knee against the NFL. He took a knee over social injustice.
But he used the NFL's platform to do so. So should he have probably did that outside of the NFL's time?
He wasn't breaking any rules. He didn't. I mean, it is a free country. You got the right to protest. It was non-violent. He didn't do anything. Now, regardless of where you fall on that, that's a completely different subject. That had nothing to do with. I get it. It was on NFL time, but his issue still had nothing to do with the NFL. He had no issues with the NFL, but the NFL, because it was hurting their pockets, decided to blackball the man.
I agree with that.
And he sued them because they were blackballing him. Not because of the taking the knee of the social injustice. It's two completely different issues, and everybody keeps trying to merge them together. They're not. They're separate. He sued them just because they tried to take his livelihood from him. And then all these people talking about he wasn't good enough to play the NFL. They had players that hadn't played for 4 years, never started in their life starting games this past season.
Yes, like Josh Johnson.
Yes, Josh Johnson. The Mr. Butt Fumble himself. He looked so trash, he got a job. So all this Colin Kaepernick wasn't good enough to be on the roster, folks need to stop lying. That's false trash. His last year with the 49ers, I think he threw 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Come on. Somebody gave him a chance. The year before, the offseason before this, the Denver Broncos was going to give up a first-round pick for him. So you just don't go 1 year and can't make a roster.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But it seems like he kind of took hush money, and is his revolution over now? Is the protest done?
So again, we don't know what the details involved. Now there is a new rule in the NFL where now the rule says you can't do it on the sidelines. I believe, like you have to stay in the locker room or whatnot. Or I don't know if they finally, or if they decided they're gonna hold off. No, I think they said they're gonna hold off.
Yeah, they didn't finalize it because it was some backlash for that rule.
Right. Because I think Eric Reed was still. So, in my opinion, I think Calvin's still gonna kneel because Eric Reed was still kneeling, and I think what we should see transpire is Kaepernick get a job, but I don't think it's hush money. Again, when you're the victim, usually the one that violated you don't want it to come out. What happened to come out in public? So they say, okay, we was wrong. I'm gonna give you your money, but you can't talk about it. If you talk about it, you forfeit the money.
So let's say he gets signed with one of the two teams I think are the front runners, which is Carolina and Tennessee. I think those are the best two teams for him. If he Carolina, the Panthers, or the Tennessee Titans, because they need a quarterback.
Carolina, I agree with you because Cam Shota may be right. Tennessee ain't that's Mariota country. That's not gonna happen.
No, Mariota's not gonna get them over any hump. So we've noticed that.
Okay, well we'll talk about if Mariota can stay healthy. I beg to differ.
You can't say if he can stay healthy because he can't stay healthy.
I'm just saying. We can talk about that another day. But go ahead.
This is my question to you: if he gets signed, and when he gets out there on the field, if he's standing toe to line, would you feel that he sold his people short?
Nah, because again, in my opinion, it's two different situations. If he now decided, okay, I've made a business decision, I've already kneeled and took 3 years out of my career over something I believed in, and now I'm moving forward to do something else. He's given multiple charities. He speaks. He's done multiple things on the end. It's just people try to, again, hijack the narrative and make it something completely different. If now he wants to do something, if he doesn't kneel, again, I think he will, but if he chose not to, because that was part of the agreement, and he's back in the NFL, he's still doing his off-the-field stuff. That was just to bring attention to it. That wasn't stopping social injustice is just not about kneeling. It's about doing other things. It was bringing awareness to it.
Yes, way more than kneeling.
So everybody else made it bigger than that. So if he, again, I don't, because Eric Reed didn't stop kneeling. So, I mean, Eric Reed didn't stop, so I don't see Kaepernick stopping.
Okay. Is there anything that could
it matters either way?
Over the next 6 months, is there anything he could do to make you change your mind and say, man, he did all this for the money?
No, there's nothing that can say he did all of it for the money, because his point of kneeling wasn't to get more money.
Yes, because he did. Because he had a contract.
They don't. He already had it, and he opted out of $16 million. Like, people forget, he opted. He could have stayed another year with the 49ers. They're completely separate narratives. It has nothing to do with he was trying to get the money. He had no beef with the NFL. The only reason he lost the money was because he kneeled. It wasn't like Colin Kaepernick was he didn't pull a Jesse, whatever his name is, and he was about to get written off a show.
We're not gonna talk about that.
I was just saying, bro. They had nothing to do. Kaepernick, two separate situations. They blackballed him because of what he did. So they took his money. They said, you know what? You're going to kneel. You're gonna cause this attention to us. We're going to take your career. We're going to take your money. He didn't do it for the money. So, no. They took his livelihood. So that's why he sued. So, no, there's pretty much nothing he could do wasn't going to make me change my mind. Because his kneeling had nothing to do with the money.
Okay. All right. I'm going to let you go with that. I'm going to let you go with that today.
Okay.
That's some good inside scoop. And, I mean, I pretty much agree with you. I just really wanted to see it all play out in court to see how bad would it really get for the NFL.
They didn't want that trouble. They didn't want that. They didn't want that. That's what they probably had some other stuff. You know, the NFL's dirty. And the NFL, and also remember, bro, people talking about most stuff are settled. You're right. When you sue somebody, most times you mean a settlement. They're talking about like 90% of the time. But the NFL don't like to settle.
Well, they don't.
You look at their track record, especially since Goodell, they don't settle. They go for W's.
Yeah, but this money was so minute to them, whether it's 50 million, 60 million, that's nothing to 32 billionaires. So.
Yeah. No, but my thing is, a lot of the stuff is minute to them. When they went after Tom Brady over the Deflategate, the money wasn't point when they went after Jerry Jones.
Well,
when they went after Zeke, the money don't matter. It's the president that's set. The NFL don't like taking L's.
Tommy Terrific, though, is bigger than the NFL, so they just had to make sure he understood that he's not bigger than the NFL.
And that's my point. It's not about the money with the NFL. So this little change that they get when each team is worth over $5 billion, this little tough change that they gave Colin Kaepernick had nothing to do with it. That's what I'm saying. NFL wants W's. They don't like to lose. Since Goodell been in office, they always want to get the W. They don't take L's. They don't. They don't care what you think. They want to always win. So come on, man.
That's what it's about, winning. I'm really upset that our other guest, AP, did not join the call because I think he had a different point of view, and I really wanted to hear him talk about the money chase that Colin was on. So I hate that he didn't join us, so we really could have had the dialogue we needed to have.
He didn't want that smoke. So he didn't want that smoke.
And I just got a message from him saying he's available on some other days. We might have to get him on next week.
Tell him he don't want that smoke. Any day I'm fine. We can revisit it. You let me know. I'll be there.
Sounds like you want that AP smoke.
I told you I want that smoke.
So, one question before I let you go. See what you think about this here. Mr. Zion Williams, the best college player in the last 5 years, um,
Uh-huh.
play or sit now that he's injured himself?
Stop, bro. I don't have this conversation all week. I'm disappointed.
I'm sure you have.
I'm disappointed at these veteran NBA stars. If Zion Williams is 100%, 100% he should play. We talk about that we baby these players and they don't got no heart and da 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 and the old school players be talking bad about them, but now they telling them to give up on his team and not the ball.
Well, I'm gonna rebuttal you on that because of the fact that they're talking about the players that's already got the guaranteed $1 million contracts. This young man, if he gets hurt again, he might not get that $1 million contract because he ain't never gonna be in the NBA. It's a difference.
Zion Williams could tear his ACL and he would still be a top 3 pick. Facts.
That's definitely facts, but that doesn't mean he gonna pan out to be the next king.
Okay, I'm just gonna remind you, the 76ers waited 3 years to play Joel Embiid. Like literally, took him second overall. Third overall?
Well, they like doing that with players. They did the same thing with Ben Simmons, but guess what?
Exactly, and he went number 1 overall. My point is, getting hurt is part of the game. Nobody even touched Zion, so he could be working out, and just like we was talking about earlier, we was talking about at the job. Basketball players play basketball.
That's true.
It don't matter. They always playing. They always hooping. It's not like real off season.
Yeah, they play each other in off season now because everybody is best friends.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody's doing pickup games. Everybody. So it ain't like he's not going to be on the court. He can get hurt anytime, bro. If he's 100%, now it's different if he's not 100%. I understand that. But if he's 100%, let the boy go try to win him a national championship. Ain't nothing wrong.
I want to see him out there too. I definitely want to see him out there.
It's nothing. It was just a freak. He could have did that anywhere. He could have did that working out. Nobody touched him.
The shoe touched him. Apparently, that Paul George Nike touched him.
Well, we might just want to stay away from the PG-13. That's all. You might want to stay away from the PG-13. So what?
All right. So you say play. I'm on the fence. I don't know at this point because their team is so exciting for me not to be a Duke fan and watch most of their games because of the fact them boys be balling.
Okay.
I kind of want to see him out there. But
what you gonna say?
After he got hurt, it's like, you know what? They making millions and billions off of you, and you ain't getting none of that money. Go on, sit down and wait till them professional owners pay you.
So what we're gonna do when the NBA changed the rules to 18-year-olds can get in, and then 18-year-olds decide they ain't playing the way last year in high school, or juniors that look like Zion look like that as a junior. It's like this dude gonna be ready for the NBA. He gonna play for 2 years. It ain't just gonna be no competition no more. Everybody just gonna sit out.
You know, if the money wasn't so mega, we wouldn't have this problem. But the fact that the money is so large now, that's just the way life goes.
Yeah, but it's and I get it. But you take a chance in anything in life, bro. When you wake up in the morning, you get out of bed, you're taking a chance of anything happening.
You're right.
And remember,
I want to take a chance that I know my family is set, than a chance that I know I'm gonna have to go work me a 9 to 5.
And we already said Zion, even if he tore his ACL, would be a top 3 pick. So his family gonna be set. It's just how set they're gonna be. And remember this, everybody. Again, I think players should get paid. I'm on the side of the players should get paid in college.
Exactly.
Again, another subject. However, do remember, the NCAA did give him a platform because before the season, Zion was considered the number 2, number 3, number 4 pick. Somewhere in there. He was considered number 1.
Number 2, 3, and 4 makes just about as much money as number 1. They pay scale ain't too far off.
Right. But what I'm saying is, after we saw Zion showcase himself on college against players supposed to be on his level, he is now the undisputed number one pick.
Yeah, there's no doubt about
Injury
that.
included.
Hey, there's no doubt. Hey, you know what though? I might would rather be number 5 than number 1 though. Just saying, cause the Cleveland Cavaliers. If the Cleveland Cavaliers pick me, I'll probably sit out a year.
LeBron did okay.
He did. Hey, when he left, what happened? They burnt jerseys. The owner called him a boy. It got ugly.
Because he went on the TV show, didn't tell nobody, talk about the decision. Who does that? Talking about taking my talent to South Beach. He knew where he was going, and it was reasons because everybody was mad, bro. And again, if you was Cleveland, you had nothing, you'd be mad. You'd probably be burning jerseys too.
Well, we're going to talk about LeBron later because from what I hear right now, he's helping with a rap CD. He's helping 2 Chainz with his next CD. He helped produce it. I'm like, that's why y'all in 10th place. You helping produce rap CDs.
Actually, you might want to worry about helping them Lakers get into the playoffs and getting to the 7th seed because they get an 8th seed. It's going to be a short playoff run. So he might want to concentrate on that instead of all this other stuff.
I don't think they're going to make it, but we'll get to that later. All right, sir. I appreciate your time calling in. I'm going to definitely get you back on the phone. Like I said, I think I heard from AP because I want to hear this dialogue because he might be one of the only people I know that are going against Kaepernick on this issue.
Man, there's a lot of people going against Cap, bro, but that's because they don't stick to the issues at hand. They try to combine both of them together, and you can't. Well, they 2 completely different issues, bro.
Well, you just need to get in my number, and they can come on and voice their opinion, and we can have a good old talk. We could use a whole show to talk about racial injustice, NFL, and the power that they have. We can talk about it. I'm good with that.
All right, we can do it. Anytime.
All right. Good hearing from you, and talk to you soon. I love fiery guests. They make my job so much easier. Cliff Jacks here. When I get back, we're going to get into our quick takes, our quote of the day, and we're going to get you out of here. Thank you for listening. Off the Cliff Sports. We'll be right back. Back at you here on Off the Cliff Sports with your host, Cliff Jacks. Definitely want to thank everybody for listening in. Remember, OfftheCliff-Sports at gmail.com. Cliff_sports is the Twitter handle. Reach out to us. OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com so you can get all the previous episodes. We want to hear from you. Quick takes for this episode. First off, my hockey fans out there, you guys got to let me know you want to hear more hockey information. But I do have the league leaders right now for you in the standings because the hockey season is winding down just as the NBA is. Right now you have the Tampa Bay Lightning leading the Atlantic Division. The New York Islanders are leading the Metropolitan, which I hadn't heard of the New York Islanders in a long time. In the Western Conference, the Winnipeg Jets are leading their division, 1 point ahead of the Nashville Predators. And in the Pacific, you have the Calgary Flames leading the division with 83 points. I do know in hockey from friends that if you have a goalie that gets hot in the playoffs, it doesn't matter if you're the 1st seed or the 8th seed, you can make a run for the Stanley Cup. So I've learned that part about hockey. My hometown Dallas Stars are fighting for a playoff spot right now. They're in the middle of the pack in the Central. Go Stars. I know the owner called out his best players a month or so ago, which when your owner calls out your best players, either the team is going to put some pep in their step or they're going to fall off the map. Next hot take, quick take that is, Zion Williamson, the story of the NCAA basketball season. He bust out of a shoe the other night and hurt himself. He was making a spin move with the ball. He slipped. His shoe bust open from the sole, which caused him to slip and injure or strain his knee from the reports. That's a big deal because this is going to be the number one pick in the draft. So a lot of people held their breath. And now the next big topic is, should Zion sit for the rest of this year until the NBA draft comes up? Or should Zion get back out there with his teammates and try to win a national championship? I'm kind of on the fence on it, but I love seeing Zion, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, and the Duke Blue Devils play. Not a fan, but I like seeing them play. And the last hot take we got for you today. Robert Kraft, who is the owner of the New England Patriots, was arrested for soliciting a prostitute. Apparently they have Mr. Kraft at a spa in Florida. They have him on camera a couple times visiting this spa, and there was a big sex trafficking sting, which Mr. Kraft, mind you, he is 77 years old, has been caught up in. At 77 years old, should you be going to other states trying to solicit? That's the question. That's all I'm going to say. Will the NFL throw this under the rug like it never happened? Or are we going to see some harsh punishment come down? I know I've seen Roger Goodell punish players before they've even been tried in a jury. So how's this going to play out? I just want all you guys out there and myself to keep this thing going. Now, Robert Kraft isn't that bad of an owner, I would say. Of course, his team has won 6 Super Bowls. I mean, Robert Kraft also helped Meek Mill, a rapper, get out of jail. He visited him, talked to him, and looks like they've become some type of friends, or have a friendship, I should say. But that was very shocking all of a sudden. All the news you have, and then you hear of this type of news. I definitely next week will let you know where we stand with the Robert Kraft being arrested situation and how the NFL handles it. I don't look for a lot to happen though. I think the NFL is going to act like this was very minor and nothing for anyone to worry about. That's how they do anything that shines a bad light on themselves. Bryce Harper is still unsigned, and he's looking for $300 million. That just really puzzles me. One player, $300 million of guaranteed money. It's not like some of it's guaranteed and he may not get the rest. Once he signs on the dotted line, unless he does something stupid, like hang gliding or something of that nature, that's his $300 million. Amazing. Your quote of the day is going to come from a legendary tennis player, Billie Jean King. I think she was one of the best of all time. Of course, that was before my time, and until Serena Williams came along and became the best tennis player of all time. Anyway, the quote from Billie Jean King: "A champion is afraid of losing. Everyone else is afraid of winning." One more time for you out there. A champion is afraid of losing. Everyone else is afraid of winning. That's Billie Jean King's quote. It's been a pleasure having you guys listen to my content and my story, my opinions. We definitely appreciate you listening in to Off the Cliff Sports. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks. Until next week, peace.